from houseoftoefl.com, and today we're going to talk about one of the most difficult speaking questions in the TOEFL, and that is speaking question 4. You must remember a few things about speaking question 4. First of all, it is an integrated question, which means you read an article that contains a definition of a term, and then you listen to a lecture that will give you a specific example. You must combine the ideas. Please do not ignore the reading part. Some students ask me, "Teacher, can I just ignore the article?" The answer is no. It's called integrated because you combine ideas. You will have 45 seconds to read the text. Then you will listen to a lecture that's about a minute to a minute and a half. However, it can be up to 2 minutes, so there is a little variation there, but it will be around a minute and a half. It will give you a specific example of the definition from the text. Then you have 30 seconds to prepare your answer and 60 seconds to speak. Remember, you must integrate, combine the reading and the lecture. How to identify definitions in speaking question 4. A lot of students are confused about what part of the article they should write down in the speaking question. So today's lesson is to teach you how to quickly find the definition of the concept, and we're also going to include a sample question and a sample response at the end of this video. So, let's talk about what you need to know from the article. You need to find the definition of the term that's given to you in the article. So here's how to look for that definition. First of all, look for the be verb. For example, if it says photosynthesis is a process by which plants use energy from the sun to create sugar, there's your definition right there. But sometimes it will say this is known as, and then repeat the title of the passage, like this is known as photosynthesis. This indicates that the definition is found in the sentence before. For example, some animals use colors that resemble a natural background. This is known as camouflage. The words this is referred to as, and then the title of the passage, also indicate the definition is in the sentence before. So for example, if it says, some insects transfer the pollen from the male anther of a flower to the female stigma, this is referred to as pollination, then your definition is in the sentence before. It is the same with this is called, this is, and so on. But please be aware, sometimes the definition can be found in the same sentence as the words this, or is known as, or is referred to as. For example, the process by which humans acquire the capacity to perceive and comprehend language is known as language acquisition. So in that, if you need to define language acquisition, you would say, language acquisition is the process by which humans acquire the capacity to perceive and comprehend language. Next, other things that you should be aware of. The definition is not usually in the first sentence of the text. It's usually in the second or third sentence. And also, I want to point out there may be other ways the definition is presented besides the examples I gave you. So keep practicing and learn to identify these definitions. The definition is the least you need to understand from the reading. There may be other important details in the text as well, but please be aware these usually come after the definition, not before it. The first sentence is usually an introduction. It's not usually that important. Although you should not ignore the test when you speak, you should spend more time on the lecture. I usually recommend about 10 to 15 seconds on the text and then the rest on the lecture. So your talking should be a lot more lecture heavy. So here's an example text. Feel free to pause the video to read this. This defines groupthink. So see if you can find the definition of groupthink from this and take a note of it. So you can pause the video now. Now listen to a sample lecture for this item. I want to give you an example of this from my own life. Years ago, I worked in the fashion industry. My job was to come up with fresh new concepts for our clothing line. My partner and I thought that when spring came, customers would be interested in buying dresses with floral prints on them, bright flowers, and so on. We thought this would be the perfect fresh idea for a new season. And a lot of our fellow designers agreed with our idea, at least at first. Well, it came time to have a meeting with senior managers to discuss the new ideas for the spring collection, and I presented my idea. The senior managers rejected it right away. They said flowers were too old-fashioned, too dated. Sure enough, my fellow designers, one by one, began to side with senior managers, even my partner. As for me, well, I'm embarrassed to admit it. But since I figured I was so outnumbered at that point, I voted against my own idea. When I talked to my coworkers afterward, they said they were afraid they'd lose their positions if they disagreed with senior management. Well, as it turned out, this decision cost us money. The big department stores ended up deciding to buy floral patterns and, well, they bought them from our competitors. So we lost a lot of potential buyers. Now, useful phrases for answering this question. You can use these phrases in your answer. When you're speaking about the passage, you need to say something like, the reading defines, which is, according to the reading, X is, or X is. Of course, X is going to be the title of the passage. And for the lecture, you will say, the professor provides a specific example to illustrate, and then the title of the article. To conclude your speaking, you can simply say, this is a clear example of, and again, repeat the title. Now listen to a sample answer for this prompt. The question is, using the example given in the lecture, explain groupthink. According to the reading, groupthink is the process by which groups make poor or irrational decisions, usually because there's a fear of going against a consensus, a fear of losing friends, or a fear of losing a position at work. The professor provides a specific example of when she was working as a fashion designer. She and her partner wanted to propose floral prints for spring. However, during a meeting, senior managers did not agree. They said that floral prints were outdated and old-fashioned. Co-workers who agreed with her before began to side with senior managers. Even her partner voted against the idea, and in the end, so did she. However, this cost the company money because department stores wanted to buy floral prints during spring, and they bought these prints from the competitors. This is a clear example of groupthink. Okay, that concludes our lesson about what to do for speaking question 4. Please go to www.houseoftoefl.com for more information. And as always, good luck on your TOEFL.